Hi, I'm Ellen O8, and I'm going to review The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 14, Episode 2. And we pick up from the last episode where Kyle and Dorit are still in round one of their argument. Kyle accuses Dorit of being aggressive and not herself, all because she's standing up for herself and not taking any more of Kyle's crap, as she shouldn't. And I'm thinking, why does this seem familiar? Oh, right, it's because it's very much parallels to what she accused Sutton of doing for standing up for herself against her and daring to ask her questions regarding her marriage. And I still think that's karma for Kyle for her part in how she treated Denise, along with some of the other ladies. But we're talking about Kyle and Dorit right now. Dorit says she refused to put up with Kyle anymore. Good for her. And Kyle says that they both have their different thoughts and sides as to what happened between them. Maybe so, but Kyle, I didn't forget how you started to pull away from Dorit when she encouraged you to take accountability for Kathy and to show her support for when she and what's her name were at odds with each other. And then you snapped at Dorit to mind her own business. So that was the starting point right there. And you can say whatever you want. So, and as far as Dorit, and as far as you saying that Dorit's not a good friend, she was a good friend when she felt that she could be upfront with you and try to help you. So, but more on the whole who's a good friend and who's not later. Kyle said that she said what she said to Dorit on Amazon Live is because of what happened at BravoCon. And what happened at BravoCon was the whole ranking of the Richard sisters. And when Kyle accidentally spilled Dorit's drink onto Dorit, that's when Dorit said, Kyle's the least favorite for that. Kathy is my favorite. And apparently later on during said event, Kyle burst into tears because that really hurt her. And then at the party, she accused Dorit of saying that her tears were a cause of getting her attention. And she didn't appreciate that. Well, I mean, there has been like a pattern of you breaking down crying or making someone or guilting someone into feeling sorry for you as a means of manipulating them into seeing your side or to make them feel sorry or guilty. So was she off the mark for that? So let's see. But I still think that she was just using that as a cover for her still harboring resentment over what Dorit told her at the season 12 reunion. Because, I know it cannot be just about the BravoCon. It cannot just be that. And the thing is that if she's supposed to be your bestie, wouldn't you know that she was just kidding around with you? Just a thought. And even Dorit said, it was a joke. We joke around like that. At least we used to joke around like that. So it's just like the whole thing with Kyle can joke around with other people and they're expected to take it. But if anyone does that to her, it's an unforgivable sin. And she wonders how Dorit can consider Kyle not a good friend, because you aren't. And you had your nerve to say, I don't care what you say, Dorit, I have been a good friend to you. No, you haven't, sweetheart. You haven't been a good friend to Dorit. You haven't been a good friend to Sutton. You even haven't been a good friend to other ladies that are not on the show anymore. So don't pee on our leg and tell us it's raining. Please. And Dorit would know about your patterns considering she's been your friend for several years. So I definitely don't know why you would come out now and say that you two weren't as close. So it doesn't make sense. And even Dorit, and when Kyle gave out that excuse, Dorit was like, nah, that's not why you were upset. That's not why you went on Amazon Live to humiliate me. And Dorit gave another reason that Kyle was affected by the question Andy asked Dorit, or like the answer that Dorit gave to Andy's question regarding if her friendship with Kyle is affected from Kyle and Morgan's relationship. And Dorit says that the closer that Kyle and Morgan got together, the further she and Dorit got. And apparently that didn't work over well with Kyle either. But I have a feeling it's about you harboring resentment over seemingly Dorit taking Kathy's side during the season 12 reunion. Sutton notices what's going on from a distance, and she says to Jennifer, "Oh, there's a lot of pointing going on over there." Dorit says that Kyle isolated her. She did. And never talked to her for months. And we got documented that, because at the reunion, Dorit showed Erica the text that Kyle gave her, like saying, like, I know it's been months since we've spoken. And like maybe they could get together, just those two, and talk after the reunion. So there's proof right there. And Kyle says that she did not have the strength to tell Dorit that she was upset. So that's basically her admission of being passive aggressive. And Kyle gives another excuse that she was struggling for the past 2 years. And Dorit called her out like, that's no excuse for you to treat me like you did. It's not. It isn't. Let's see. And Kyle did the same thing with Sutton, and Kyle treated Sutton the same way when she was struggling. So, again, Kyle, you haven't been a good friend. Let's see. And that whatever Dorit said, just because Dorit says something doesn't make it true. So it's not true when you say that Dorit exaggerated the friendship, per your theory, right, Kyle? And there have been plenty of other nasty things that you've said in the heat of the moment. Does that mean that's not true also? And then she doubles down on the excuse that she was struggling and turning it all back around on her. And demandingly asks Dorit for some grace, which Dorit says, I have given you grace, way more than you deserve. But when you publicly humiliate me the way that you did, grace time is over. So, and Kyle storms away from that. And obviously she can't take the truth, or when somebody's being honest with her. But she thinks she could be honest with other people and they have to just take it. So this is why people think that you're passive aggressive. And this is why certain people cannot. This is why Sutton said later on that she can't completely trust you. And I don't blame her. Kyle says in her confessional that Dorit is the one who hurt her and is creating something to justify her behavior. Sounds like projection. You two definitely do not need to be friends again, ever. So in the next scene, like as Kyle is waiting for her car, Garcelle comes up to her and asks and talks to her, checking on her to see if she's okay. And then in another parallel scene, Dorit talks to Erica about the blow up that just happened. But I got her name right and then I just forgot it again. Boz came up to them walked in and was kind of listening to the conversation. And Dorit is too through with a lot of things, whether it's her dwindling marriage, the dwindling friendship, and just keeping quiet about things. Though some would argue that she rarely stops talking because she's always running her mouth. So, all right. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Boz informed Sutton at the party that Dorit was visibly upset by what just happened, per like what she heard Dorit and Erica talking about. So in the next scene, Boz is at her badass workshop where she's speaking at, and she gives us some information about herself. She's from Ghana. She's Ghanaian, and her name is Ghanaian, which means goddess. Well, she certainly dresses the parts, and when the way she was walking that, That sidewalk, I was like, you better walk that walk, honey. Go ahead. She tells us that she worked in corporate America for 25 years, was named by Forbes as #1 most influential CMO in the world, named by Ebony as the most powerful executives in the world. And I have to say, there's like a long, seems like a long list of other accolades that she's gotten that, yeah. Go ahead, honey. You deserve the blessings. And even after she retired from corporate America, she stays busy with workshops, podcasts, and advocacy. And that brings us to the workshop she's speaking at. She gives her story that she created this workshop after many questions she's gotten about how to get a corner office of their own. And she was married to Peter Daniel St. John, who died of cancer back in 2013. And this was around the time that their only daughter, was around 4 years old, or turning 4. And Boz has this regret that her only daughter won't grow up having a father in her life for the rest of her life. And I have to say that is very sad. That's a very sad thing. I mean, I've never had to deal with a parent dying when I was a child, so I couldn't begin to understand how her daughter was feeling. Let's see. And while she hoped for a black Prince Charming of her own, here comes this ginger-haired man who, with an Italian background, gold chain, and no black friends. This is per her words. Anyways, her husband's death and her job review is what led her to create her own thing and to find strength in herself to move forward. And I have to say, kudos, Boz. Continue to kill it, because you deserve it. Let's see. But I have a feeling I'm going to like Boz. Hopefully I'll like her. I mean, I'm probably still too early for me to say if I like a new housewife or not, but I really hope I do like her, because she seems very cool, very relatable, and very personable. Okay, the next scene, Kyle and Sutton are meeting for, I think, lunch. Sutton says the last time she was at this very location, which was a hotel, this is where she got her free Botox. Let's see. Where am I? No, not there. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find my spot. Oh, man. Oh, here we go. Crap, where is it? Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I got lost in my notes. Okay, and Sutton says that the last time that, Sutton has gone through a lot regarding, the accusations, mainly from Kyle, that, the medicine that she takes for her foot was maybe have caused her to act strange. By the way, Kyle, just because you said someone's acting strange from some medication that they took does not mean that it's true. Just using your theory here. And you want to talk about public humiliation and hurtful actions? You are very hostile towards Sutton most of last season, so please don't. And you ought to be grateful that Sutton's willing to meet with you at all. Because as Sutton said in her confessional, who said I trusted Kyle? And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, so she is treading lightly, as she should. So let's see. Sutton doesn't believe that Kyle and Mo will get along for long. And she was just like, yeah, for now you will, but And then she gets right down to it, like, maybe it's best that, Kyle, that you do file for divorce, because as far as money goes, people do act differently. Now, as somebody who's never been through a divorce, I couldn't begin to understand, like, even know the half of what happens during the divorce proceedings, especially as far as money is concerned. So, but Sutton, who's been through it, advises her to file and be mindful to money and other assets, because men do not like to part with their money. I think even like divorce proceedings or not, men don't like to part with their money, period. Like, I can see it, like, if it's something that they really want, but like as far as other things, they don't seem to like to parting with their money. And then again, who does? I don't like to part with my money, even when I have to spend it on something. And she also advises Kyle to speak with an attorney regarding the divorce proceedings, if it should come to that. Dorit and Erica in the next scene are stopping by Boss's house. Dorit expresses excitement to Erica over her connecting with Boz within the 30 minutes of meeting her. Well, you better hope this is real, because I hate to find out that you're doing with Boz what you've done with Garcelle. So at Boz's place, Boz is very accommodable, like, giving Dorit and Erica slippers to wear after they take off their shoes, the food spread, the drinks, all that. So good job on that. So they get down to business and dish about the party. Boss shares with them that she had Sutton over to get the lowdown on who all was coming to the party. And this was like a day or so before. Sutton admits that Kyle and Dorit have their problem, so it may be awkward with them there. And Dorit repeats again that Kyle did isolate her. Boz asks, well, why was Kyle mad? And Dorit says it's because she was getting different answers as to why Kyle pulled away from her, or why Kyle isolated her. And per the flashbacks, number one was being asked about her marriage. And again, that's karma for her for how she treated Denise and her alleged hookup with Brandy, whether or not it happened. And it wasn't just Dorit asking about the marriage either. Sutton asked about it. Garcelle asked about it. So what are we really talking about here? Grievance number 2 was Dorit telling her to support her sister Kathy, being the good friend that she is. And finally, the BravoCon event. So Kyle was basically just pulling things out of her ass, if we can be honest. And then Kyle gives Sutton her side of it, saying that she was going to go into this calmly, right? And that Dorit did come into this the same way, and that's where the problem started. All right, so the problem started with Dorit, not the rift that you had a hand in causing. Whatever. Okay. The thing is, Kyle, that you just didn't care to listen to Dorit. You just hoping that Dorit would grovel at your feet, begging for your forgiveness, or basically kissing your ass. But that didn't happen. And if you had to listen to Dorit, that would mean you taking accountability for your half and why there was a rift between you and Dorit, and admitting that you were being passive aggressive. But again, she used an excuse of just reacting to what Dorit did and said to her. And that would be what? Being honest? Standing up to you? Or calling you out? It's a toss-up, really. And once again, she's saying that Dorit wasn't a good friend to her. And again, I say, you haven't been a good friend to Dorit or Sutton either. And Sutton chooses to sit right there in front of you and listen to you. And as far as being nice, you haven't been nice either, sweetie. And while I was watching this, and I was looking at Sutton, looking at her like this woman right here. And I was like, Sutton, now's your time to remind her of the many times that she wasn't nice to you. And she wasn't a good friend to you either. Come on, sweetie. Speak up. Like, she's right there. Oh, and Kyle had her nerve to say that Dorit lacks accountability and self-awareness. I know that is not the pot Kyle calling the kettles Dorit black. Like, are you serious right now? More projection. That's all that is. And here's some irony for all of you. Per Kyle's words, she seems to be completely oblivious to anyone's feelings but her own. Once again, projection. Now, if this was about Dorit and her disregard for Garcelle's feelings about her family, then yeah. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about you and Dorit. And yeah. This again, I lost track. And I'll bet Sutton has to be sitting there like, girl, you got some nerve. like this is why I expressed doubt to the producer that I trusted you. Because, and once again, Dorit repeats the notion that Kyle can say and do whatever to other people, but you better not do it to her. Basically, there's a set of rules for her, and then there's a set of rules for everybody else to follow. And then from there it segues into how things are going between Dorit and PK, and I honestly don't care about that. So, moving on. Sutton is seen preparing the pizza kits for Erica and for Kathy. And later on, I see that she's also preparing something for Kyle, because they're all going to head over there to cheer her up because of how sad and down she's been. And I'm not sure how Sutton went from saying she doesn't completely trust Kyle to considering her a friend that Kyle needs. Like, okay, all I can say is that Sutton, she's too good for Kyle. And she's very much a good friend. Like, even after all the drama that went down between them and the way Kyle treated her, Sutton is willing to be the good person that she is, to be there for her. So, all I can say is, Sutton, you're a better person than I would have been. But you're a good person. That's just in your nature, it seems. So, I can't say too much on that, even though I already have. Anyway, let's see. Oh, Erica and Kathy come over to get their pizza kits and then get everything together to head over to Kyle's. And then Sutton shares with Erica and Kathy that Kyle related to her a story about Mauricio replacing a photo of them with a photo of himself with his dance partner from Dancing with the Stars. And I have to say that was a bit of a shocker to me. It's like, wow. Yeah, that's just... And for Sutton, she says, like, for me, it's bye, Mauricio. I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, and Erica relates with her ex having a picture of one of his mistresses, so she can't completely judge on that. Kyle is still getting used to the house being a lot quieter since Mauricio moved out and since Alexia moved out. And I'm thinking, well, I'll bet she regrets announcing her plan to move to someplace quieter than LA after Portia graduates from high school, and it did not include Mauricio. I'll bet she's very much regretting that. Kathy, Erica, and Sutton head over to Kyle's. And I have to say, it was very nice of them, especially Sutton, to do this for Kyle. And they're talking, and Kyle doesn't appreciate Kathy referencing Mauricio's Instagram stories of him working out in the gym, because apparently she's still feeling vulnerable of how things have turned out between them. And I think she's still holding on to this hope that things will get better for them. But Sutton and basically Erica advised her to prepare for what's to come next. And Sutton relates to Kyle about dealing with her ex-husband. and that she would get flowers all the time, and now that she gets nothing. And Erica reminded her, girl, what are you talking about? You get a nice monthly payment, girl, please. And even Kathy advised Kyle, tells Kyle that she brought a lot to this marriage, and maybe it's best that I think she's of the sentiment of Erica's to prepare, because she did bring a lot to the marriage. So, but still, it's nice of them to be there for her and to show support. The next scene is of PK and Dorit meeting up for dinner to discuss things. And again, I don't really care, but it leads up to the end of the episode. And the preview for next week's is very interesting, because it seems to be Kyle and Dorit round 2. So that's all I got to say on that. I hope you guys will have a spectacular Thanksgiving and a Thanksgiving weekend. By the time this will be uploaded, it'll be like past Thanksgiving, because my phone takes a long time to load this. So I hope you have had a great Thanksgiving. Be safe. Keep your family close. And if you can, read up on how Thanksgiving really came to be in the history of the Native Americans within this country, because they're a large part of American history and why we need to know it. Just thought I'd leave you with that. I love you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.